Hi everybody, welcome once again. And I'm starting with a series on CUT 2026 economics syllabus. This year CUT has made certain changes in its syllabus and Indian economic development is a new edition this time. So I will be completing the syllabus in the month of April, and in the first week of May we can practice previous year questions and new questions which will help you to score good in CUT exam. Starting from our topic for today, that is central problems of an economy, and then we will be studying microeconomics, what is microeconomics and all. So see, in every economy there are certain activities which we classify as economic and non-economic activities. So economic activities are those which are related to money, and non-economic are done for self-satisfaction. We can say that if I am working somewhere, a doctor, engineer, so whatever activities they are performing to earn money, it is classified as an economic activity. Whereas if someone is, let's say, doing a charitable service, it is a non-economic activity. So in any economy, production, consumption, and exchange of goods and services, wherever it is involved, all these can be classified as economic activities. I would like to bring to your notice that the CUT exams are strictly based on NCERT textbooks. So I have uh, tried my best to use terminology which is given in NCERT. Now, next is the problem of scarcity of resources. Now, because of these economic activities, the economy faces the problem of scarcity. Scarcity of what? Resources. Because resources are limited. These are also termed as characteristics of resources, and they have alternative uses. The same resource can be put to multiple uses, and because of these characteristics of resources, uh, any economy will face the problem of scarcity of resources and has to make a choice where to allocate these resources. That is termed as problem of choice, because resources have competing usage. And because of this, how to allocate the resources in the best possible manner leads to what we call as economic problem. The central problem for an economy is the problem of what to produce. So basically, an economy has to decide whether to produce more of consumer goods or capital goods. So consumer goods are those goods which help to directly satisfy consumer wants. For example, bread, butter, notebook, or even a mobile phone if it is purchased by a consumer, all these are considered as consumer goods. Capital goods are basically those goods which helps in further production like machines. So more of one good means that the economy has less resources for production of other good. Then we have how to produce. How to produce is related to the choice of technique of production, labor intensive technique of production, or capital intensive technique of production. Labor intensive technique of production involves use of more labor, like for example in India, if we talk about agriculture sector, it is labor intensive in nature. And capital intensive techniques means more of mechanization, use of more technology. Then the third problem is for whom to produce. And please remember that when we talk about this problem of how to produce, the economy has to decide based on obviously number of factors, cost plus labor power available in the uh, economy. So based on that, it will decide which technique of production it should employ, because at times for a highly labor surplus economy like India, if we just resort to capital intensive techniques, this may lead to unemployment. The third central problem is for whom to produce. The third central problem is for whom to produce. This problem is related to distribution of income in the economy. Now, for whom to produce means that the economy has to decide for which section of the society it should produce different goods and services. Now, why we call it as a problem related to distribution of income? Now, why we call this problem of for whom to produce related to distribution of income? Because in any economy, goods and services are produced using four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So when these four factors of production provide their factor services for producing the output in the economy, they will be getting factor payments in return. Like land will be getting rent, labor will be getting wages or salary, capital will be getting interest, entrepreneur will be getting profit. So based on the reward for their factor services, they can decide what goods and services they will buy or they can afford to buy. So the problem of for whom to produce is also related to distribution of income in the economy. Next is microeconomics, which is usually introduced in grade 11th in CBSE. So micro basically means small. So whenever we study individual units of an economy, like behavior of individual consumer or a firm, or basically even if we study about an industry, so industry is not a single firm but a group of firms, those who are producing similar type of products. Different market forms like monopoly, monopolistic, perfect competition. So all these are studied under microeconomics. When we talk about the individual units, we are not talking about the aggregates. Unlike macroeconomics, where we study the aggregates of the economy. Now, what are these aggregates? The total of output, which is termed as, let's say, GDP. The total of output is GDP. Then we have the problem of unemployment, inflation, deflation. They are impacting the whole economy. So, all these variables are studied under macroeconomics.